How y'all doing? Nick the Smoker here, coming up with another review today. This one is going to be Lucky Strike Expert Cut. So, Lucky Strike is a brand of cigarettes which is kind of known all around the world now. It came from the United States. We used to have filtered one. We still have the original non-filter Lucky Strike sold in the United States. We used to have filters many years ago. Those were discontinued. But filtered versions are still found throughout the world, and they make many different variations of them. Yeah, this one is going to be the Expert Cut, and these are from Japan. So taking a look at the package, I really do like that blue on there, that kind of a dark blue contrasting with the gold a little bit. And then you got the Lucky Strike logo right there, and it says established 1871. And also you'll notice on the pack it says 14 right there in that bottom left hand corner, bottom right, yeah, whatever. But that means it's 14 milligrams of tar because they make 3 different kinds of these. This is considered the full flavor version. And then, as you can see, there are Japanese warning labels all around the pack in their style, but still not a bad looking pack. I really do enjoy that color of that blue. But yeah, this is made by British American Tobacco, Japan. And the nutrition facts on the pack is that there's 14 milligrams of tar and 1.2 milligrams of nicotine. So these are actually technically a little bit stronger than what a Marlboro Red would be here in the United States. But yeah, I'm going to give these a little bit of a pack. I've been trying a lot of different cigarettes in Japan recently, and I'm kind of blown away at the quality of them. A lot of them are just some of the better cigarettes I've ever smoked. So I'm going to be excited to try these. So pulling the pack out here, very cool gold foil in there. It says Lucky's on there right there. Pull that off. All right. 20 Class A cigarettes in the pack, and these filters are white, as you can see, even though it is technically a full flavor cigarette. Wow, these actually didn't pack at all. Interesting. Taking a look, give me 1 second. Take a look at the actual. That's weird, they're not packing. Interesting. Taking a look at the cigarette, nice white color kind of all there, and you have a gold band at the bottom of the filter, and then you have that Lucky Strike logo in blue written below. One line of perforations on the filter, in the middle of the filter, kind of. They're spaced apart, kind of big holes. Filter is incredibly, it's very squishy, if you will. That's what she said. But it's, I think it's going to allow a lot of smoke through. We'll just have to see as I'm smoking it. And taking a look at that tobacco in there, it is on the brighter note, as you can see. And smelling the cigarette, and it is, and I noticed, you saw that I packed it there. Well, it really didn't pack down that much, as you can see, very barely, and I really can't get it to pack down anymore. I don't know what that is. These things feel like they are packed very tight with tobacco, which is nice. So, that's a plus, I guess. Smelling it. A slight paper smell coming off of there. But there's a little bit of some kind of a rich, just a little bit of a richness and a little bit of a sweetness coming from that. Not much. Taking a dry pop. I am getting a hint of something off of there other than the filter. So without further ado, let's go ahead and give the Lucky Strike Expert Cut a like. Okay, do a body on here. Another very good density of smoke coming off of this cigarette. Very, very good. Possibly it's a little bit airy. I can tell that there's that air is mixing in and those perforations on the draw, but it's still, you're getting a nice dense smoke out of it. Something I'm noticing too is that the drag on the filter is just a little bit more difficult, if you will. The smoke is not flowing out as easily. Yeah. It's like a little bit of a restrictive draw on the cigarette, but other than that, I'm still getting a decent amount of smoke out of it. As you can see, a nice ash on there already. I said these cigarettes do appear to be packed a little bit tighter than most conventional cigarettes out there, so that's a plus. First impression of the cigarette, though, not bad so far. It does kind of have that, again, it does have that kind of a distinctive Lucky Strike flavor and a taste coming off of it. Something that I've noticed, obviously, on the European counterparts and everywhere else in the world where I've tried filtered Lucky Strikes from, because like I said, in the United States, we only have the original non-filter ones. They've got that nice, sweet, kind of a toasted tobacco flavor coming off of them. I'm sure the tobacco isn't toasted anymore, but it's still got that kind of a characteristic filtered Lucky Strike flavor to it. And this is actually so far one of the better ones I've had. I've had some filtered Lucky Strikes where it's kind of like, you know, because it is, if I'm not mistaken, they are a little bit cheaper than what Marlboros and Camels are wherever they're sold overseas. But this one actually has a really, really nice flavor to it. A nice kind of a sweet flavor to it. It almost reminds me slightly of a Camel because of that sweetness of the flavor from the cigarette, but at the same time, it has that Lucky Strike character to it. There's just something about it. Lucky Strike smokers will know what that kind of taste and that flavor is. We're under halfway on the cigarette now. Blowing out my nostrils too, I'm still getting that kind of a nice flavor. That character that's being reinforced by it. It's very nice. But I'm going to jump some ratings on this cigarette. I'm going to do the body. As you can see, pretty dang good. Especially it's starting to pick up a little bit more towards the end now. This cigarette filter, I did notice these are king size. This cigarette filter is just a little bit slightly longer than what I prefer on a cigarette. But it's still not bad nonetheless. And like I said, in Japan, these are the expert cuts. These are the full flavor, the 14 milligram. I do think they make a 10 and an 8 or something like that. So medium and a lighter one. But these are actually not bad at all. There's really no harshness on the throat, nothing down deep. Very kind of a mild, it's almost mild. And towards the end, as we're burning hotter here, getting towards the end of the cigarette, I am noticing that there is a little bit of possibly this dirty kind of a taste coming out of it, a little bit grittier. A lot of cigarettes just do that. I've noticed a lot of cigarettes, especially a cigarette like a Camel, if you're smoking it pretty fast or it's burning pretty hot, I do notice that the flavor kind of does turn a little bit sour, if you will, just because it's heating up too much, I guess. And this cigarette, I can tell this is kind of like a Camel. This is something that you want to smoke at kind of a regular pace. You don't want to smoke it too quick because you are getting a very nice flavor out of it. And now that I'm smoking a little bit hotter towards the end here, it is getting that little bit of a dirty flavor to it. So unfortunately, it's not holding up at the end like I was hoping it would, but still, nonetheless, it's still very good. But yeah, would I smoke these again? Definitely. This is a very, very solid cigarette. This is actually one of the best, probably the best filtered Lucky Strike that I have smoked to date so far. Beyond the regular filtered Lucky Strike Reds and stuff like that, this one is the best that I have smoked to date. So that's a good thing. That's my personal opinion on it, though. The non-filtered Lucky Strikes that we have in the United States are still king for what I'm concerned, but this is actually very, very good. And yeah, I will definitely enjoy smoking the rest of these, and this is definitely something, if I had a chance again, I'd definitely smoke them again. This is a nice cigarette. This should probably be, and like I said, Lucky Strikes, I think these filter ones are cheaper than Marlboros and Camels overseas. This would be a very nice kind of slight equivalent to what a Camel cigarette would be. Well, this expert cut, that's what I think. So, but yeah, what would I rate the Lucky Strike expert cut? This cigarette, I think I'm going to have to give a solid, an 8 out of 10. This is a very, very good one, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I did mention how at the end that kind of the flavor kind of gets a little bit dirtier at the end. A lot of cigarettes do that, but for the most part, more than 75% of the cigarette has that solid, very nice flavor to it, and it's a nice smoking experience. And this Lucky Strike Expert Cut also says on the back, I forgot to mention in the beginning, the back of the pack says, finely cut tobacco for a smooth and satisfying taste. So I would assume that the tobacco in the cigarette might be cut a little bit finer to a different kind of a dimensions than what standard conventional cigarettes would use. And I noticed that these cigarettes also they are kind of tight. And there is more tobacco in here from what if I'm not mistaken, it just kind of feels that way. And so far, smoking it kind of feels that way. So that's a plus. And yeah, very, very decent cigarette, Lucky Strike Expert Cut. So there you have it, guys. That is my review of the Lucky Strike Expert Cut. And these are the 14 milligram as well, by the way, the full flavor. And I thank you all so much again for watching, and God bless.